And a good Sunday afternoon to you. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota, Twin Cities, Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Big shot shown here. Big batch of what we call an MCS, mesoscale convective system. Develops its area of low pressure, kind of a high pressure center, and then kind of wipes itself out. Typically it forms over the top of a ridge, and we got one in progress right now. Typically these make a right turn like this. And so if you see them up in Canada sometimes, they make that right turn oftentimes coming into New York and not so much into northern New England. But lately, with climate change, this might be on the increase down the road a piece. Looking at the broad picture, we have temperatures overlaid along with 500 hectopascal heights, as well as surface pressure in the blue lines. We're seeing the isobars. A little bit on the busy side here, so what we're seeing is the warmest temperatures across the southern parts of the United States and the desert Southwest. We also have convective available potential energy shown where the fill is, and getting rid of that. You can see in those particular same areas, this is where our warmest temperatures are. If we use heat indices just for kicks, you can really see where things are heating up here across the southeast and southern part of the United States. A little less so out in the desert Southwest. We have this trough of lower pressure. It's actually brought cooler conditions, but this big, broad ridge of higher pressure, along with a trough in the northeast United States, adjacent southeastern Canada, that's exiting. Their trough that's come in across the Pacific Northwest has cooled things down there. And this is going to be jet stream energy eventually going over the top of this ridge, and we'll eventually see some of this action down the road. Okay, we're looking at the 2 p.m. Sunday panel here of the European model. This shows precipitation, which is free right now. This is in the green, and we can see the amounts of precipitation at the bottom. The left-hand panel is the most recent model run of the European. This is 12 hours ago, but we can compare notes. The European is one of the more highly skilled models. Typically, it does not deviate very much, and where it does deviate, you can typically find out where the models are starting to come sort of off the tracks. So running that, you can see that we have dry weather through Sunday and into Sunday night, no problems there. Just a little bit north of our region in the St. Lawrence River Valley, you can see this little area here of showers, kind of an old frontal system, an old disturbance. This is going to be sagging southward. So as we run the computer model, you can see that that does move in during the afternoon hours on Monday. That will trigger some scattered showers and thunderstorms, probably more isolated than scattered, but they will be affecting the northern parts of Vermont and then continuing for a time into the evening before they kind of fall apart. That frontal boundary then pushes off. We also have a MCS, a mesoscale convective system, that's going to be tracking to the east from the Ohio Valley and through the Ohio Valley. It looks like it's really going to affect only our southern counties with just a little bit of shower activity, but slightly heavier precipitation or bigger raindrops, you might say, with higher P-watts on Tuesdays expected, and then that moves on out, so no problems there. Wednesday looks like a pretty fine day. In fact, an area of higher pressure south of James Bay, Canada, is going to build and really control our weather for a dry day on Wednesday. That lasts into Wednesday night before we get a little more moisture starting to roll in on Thursday, and it looks like Thursday and Friday probably the more robust of the 2 days. Thursday at this point, and then Friday we start to see just a waning of the showers and storms that'll be taking place through that period. That also has a little bit of higher P-watts associated with it. That's precipitable water. That measurement or metric is really good to try to see if we're going to have any heavier localized rainfall with some of the thunderstorms that'll take place. And it does look like we'll see some of that, but then that exits out of the region. And it looks like a little bit of a break in the action potentially on Saturday, and then kind of just unsettled weather beyond this period. Along about the 19th of August, shown here, it looks like we're going to see warmer weather and probably some sort of a warm front that'll be affecting us, along with some cooler temperatures across Quebec and Ontario. That interplay is going to be right across our region, and I suspect that that will be a stormy period indeed. Looking at the GFS ensemble, this is centered on Montpelier, Vermont. This is the 3-hour quantitative precipitation forecast, or the accrued amount of precipitation. This all falls basically on Monday afternoon and into Monday night, and then things kind of calm down and we dry out. And so this is definitely looking very different on the European model, where it has much more unsettled conditions. And then the lead up to that, we're looking at great weather again this Sunday, so no issues there. It's all starting Monday afternoon, and this is basically going to be in northern areas. Again, this is centered on Montpelier, Vermont, so the GFS ensemble is trying to indicate a little better chance for precipitation. And indeed, the total QPF looks like this, and brings us, black line is the average right here, with running about 5,500ths of an inch. And the latest model run has brought things up, and one of the more outlier at 8,900ths of an inch for the city of Montpelier, the Barry-Montpelier Airport, EFNAP, as a central point here. So I suspect that this is in air, and things are going to be a lot closer to this, and probably more fluctuations in terms of showers, almost on a daily basis, but not quite. And one way to look at that is the convective available potential energy. You see a pretty good shot here, a little secondary shot, and some indications here. Right now, the GFS ensemble and the European ensemble are not in very decent agreement. Looking at precipitation, we can see this is the half-inch line here for a 5/10ths of an inch. This is a 1/4 of an inch. This is 1 inch amounts. So basically, the 7-day QPF, according to the Weather Prediction Center, through basically Sunday morning, is indicating less amounts of precipitation than what has just been shown on the GFS ensemble. Also, what the European is showing. Here's a quick look at temperatures, and you can see that we do have a relatively cool day, and we're going to be ramping that up a little bit and then coming back down in temperature for a time and then ramping it back up. A little different than what the European is showing. This may be a little bit more in air. Looking at dew point temperatures, you can see that it maxes out with some pretty warm dew points here as we get into the 65 to 70 degree range. That's going to take place Monday afternoon, and then a little secondary uptick there in the low 60s, and then things dry out and we fall apart for that cooler weather for the middle part of the week on Wednesday. And that cooler weather can be seen with the weighted temperatures for the next 5 days, high temperatures. And you can see that it's near normal just south of James Bay, but we're running about 3, almost 6 degrees below seasonal norms for this period. It's kind of a coolish period here. About 3 days later, we start to get near normal, and we start to see a little bit of a warming trend start to push into the region. That is also being shown by the European model. And looking at the climate reanalyzer, you can see that there's a lot of areas that are actually below normal overall, with the warmer than normal conditions. The anomalies have moved off of Greenland for the most part into the northern Canadian archipelago. Also, this stretches back over the pole, if you will, and comes back over parts of Siberia. Let's see if we can see that a little bit better here. So this basically interconnects with this, and we're seeing, because of that high latitude blocking, it's forcing the jet stream to cut underneath, mostly east of Alaska, and something like this. Antecedent conditions, so spend a little time on county by county across the state of Vermont. This is Addison County, the alphabetical order here. And so as you get into Windsor and Windham County. So what we're looking at here, we'll pick a county. We'll do Grand Isle County. So this is month to date for this month of August. So far we're well above normal, the normal line here, 100%. And you can see that at least up in Grand Isle County, the overall weighted averages are above normal. Now, not everywhere in Vermont looks like that. And Rutland County is one of those that really looks like we've had very little precipitation the last 30, 60, even going 90 days. Getting back to normal as we head back into the spring and over the winter, near normal in terms of that. So a lot of differences. Antecedent conditions are highly variable to the niches and basins, the mountain ranges of Vermont. And that's why it's so difficult to forecast for the state. So let's take a look at county by county. This is Addison County, Bennington County, and so forth below normal, it looks like. Addison County's had a lot of precipitation above normal month to date anyway, but you can see that it's been averaging. And again, this is Caledonia County here. This is Bennington County, Chittenden County, a little bit above normal, pretty much all above normal. As we get into Essex County, all above normal. Franklin County, some variability here. We get into Grand Isle County. We saw that earlier. And then Lamoille County looks like this, mostly all above normal as well. Orange County has that little southerly start to the dip here. Not as much precipitation in Orange County until you get back in the last spring. Latest from Orleans County shown. Northeast Kingdom kind of northern tier regions. You've seen the most precipitation. Here's Rutland County, Washington County above normal on all categories. And checking a little further to the south, Windham County a little bit below normal. Windsor County much below normal. And then going back into the spring, we can see that, and over the winter we had near normal to above normal there. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.